Don't ask. Guys, it's Glass Half Dead here, and today I want to talk to you about the hardest kill team factions to play. We start by defining what exactly hard means, because I haven't called this hard, have I? I've called this difficult. Is there a difference? I don't think so. But what we do need to understand is that when I say hard or difficult to play, I do not mean bad. I also don't mean good. There are a lot of hard teams that are not good teams. That's probably a really big design flaw with Kill Team and with 40k in general. Generally you'd expect that something on the hard to play difficulty curve is going to be good, or you know, like a strong team. This is not always the case, and that's a real problem, but that's not what we're tackling here today, because that's not our problem. We are not rules designers. We are rules players. We are players. We play the game. If something is hard to play, it could be that the team is just very weak, or it could be that the team is so highly specialized that you have to be on the ball every single move, and if you accidentally put a otherwise typically strong unit into the wrong threat, you've wasted the game and you lose. That's difficult to play, but it's not by any means a bad team to play, and it doesn't mean you can't win with that team. Likewise, when it comes to incredibly highly specialized units, it could be that this team is hard to play because you have to not just put the correct model into the correct threat, but you also have to make sure that you have picked the correct model to put into the correct threat, as opposed to just sorting things out in the movement phase. Perhaps you have very highly costed units that all do separate things to everybody else. You cannot then put a horde killer into an elite model. Glass cannon factions, for example, Grey Knights or Harlequins, doesn't necessarily mean that they are hard to play, but it also doesn't necessarily mean that they are easy to play despite being very good at killing things. But again, it doesn't mean the weakest possible faction, because, you know, Kroot. Yes, Kroot are a bad faction, but they're not difficult to play. They're very simple to play, in fact, because they have so few options. There's only one thing you can really do. So we're trying to find the middle ground. You can take everything I say in this video however you want to take it. If you want to take what I say and think, okay, these are the teams to avoid, because I don't actually get any advantage to playing them, they're just harder to win with, and I don't like losing, that's great. Or you can see this as a badge of honor. You can say, I've won with one of these teams. That means they're hard to play, but I'm a good player. That's for you to decide. But if you're here and you're a subscriber to my channel, I would like to give you a big double hello. Wasn't that incredibly wholesome? Wasn't that pleasant? If you would like to get yourself a double hello in the next video, feel free to like, subscribe, leave a comment, and then that double pleasantry can be yours. So here we go, everybody. These are the top 3 most difficult factions to play in Kill Team, and heads up, because I have already written the bullet points for this, there are 2 honourable mentions, which it almost includes everybody, but go with it, don't worry. And just so you know my thoughts about all of this, I think winning with one of these teams is a real badge of honor. If you've won with one of these 3 teams, good for you. You're probably a good player, or you got incredibly lucky, or you're a real pro player stomping noobs and you're scum. So do the right thing, guys, that's what I'm saying. I think we can all guess number 1. Oh, also, these aren't in any particular order. It's not like one, you know, top, second, third, you know, it's not. We're not going gold, silver, bronze. These aren't the Olympics, alright guys? These are just the 3. They can all be on the same tier, but unfortunately, due to how time works, I do have to pick one to say first. We start with the Gene Stealer cults. I think we all saw it coming, right? We all know Gene Stealer cults, okay? We all know they kind of suck, but we also all know that they have the best weapon in the game, so you can't just look at them and say they are a bad faction, right? They have the potential to be the best faction in the right terrain and in the right hands, but they're not a good faction. And in fact, they're one of the hardest factions to play, in my personal opinion. But why is that? That's kind of an ephemeral question, and actually a little bit difficult to answer, because on paper, they're not bad, and on paper, they're better than other factions that do better than them in most tournaments. But basically, they're a weak horde. Now, there are other factions that are also weak hordes, but for whatever reason, the Gene Stealer cults just don't have the ability to easily escape that role. Now, they're very, very killy. Yes, I understand that, and killing in place of sturdiness is valid. However, they are killy only in melee. Ignore all of their shooting options. Okay, guys, if you're taking Gene Stealer cults as a shooting team, you've taken those heavy weapons, you've messed up. I know that they have a cool profile, and you're like, oh, it's strength 9, that's so cool. But don't do it. I've tried, other people have tried, we've all looked at the stats and we've thought, okay, yeah, maybe we could make that work. But you've just made an entire game plan out of rolling 6s on 2 models. That's it. That's not a game plan, guys. That's a game loss. I realise I need to write better puns, but stay with me here, guys, okay? In a game that is all about holding objectives, you don't have anything sturdy. Let's look at the aberrant. The only possible option that is sturdy, but it's not. Even if you look at 40k, you see that we just didn't get some of the things that make aberrants work over there, but aberrants don't work over there either. But that's not really the point. What I'm saying is, okay, they have an interesting ability, -1 damage. That is very cool. That does, to a degree, negate plasma, which is awesome. Takes that plasma back down to 1 damage. They do have 2 wounds, that's really good, but they're still T4, are they? They might be T5. Either way, they die really quickly, I'm going to be honest with you. 5-up save on a 22-point model. In fact, you know what? I'm just going to say it. I'm just going to say it. That noise I just made, that is how I view Genestealer Cults. Genestealer Cults. That was a bit sexual, but go with it. Trust me. Once you play Genestealer Cults and you lose, you will do that same noise. Best weapons in the game, but no way to safely close combat, so you are 100% left at the mercy of the terrain of the board you're playing on. And that's why Genestealer Cults are one of the hardest factions to play. The ability to do well, but they lack the ability to get to the point where they can do well. Ouch. More so than any other faction. I'm watching a crow fight a squirrel. That's nuts. Faction 2. This is also one that I think we're all going to know, okay? Adeptus Mechanicus. Yes. Why AdMech? Now, AdMech are not a horde. They don't, they're too expensive to be a horde faction. They've got some very interesting profiles that are both, some are good against hordes, some are good against elites, and never the twain shall meet. And that's the point of AdMech. If you muster incorrectly, or if you don't have what you need on your roster, you're done. You need to know how to build a roster, and then how to play each unit, before you can come anywhere close to being successful with AdMech. AdMech are strong, okay? Don't let anybody tell you they're not. But man, you need to know how to play the game. And more importantly, you need to have a really good grasp on the movement phase so that you can get what you need into the right place. Also, of course, there are some really easy things you can do against AdMech if you're the correct faction. For example, if AdMech think you're going to go with an elite list and they take their horde killing models, you might as well just win. You don't need to play that game. You could just say, oh, sorry, I mustered wrong. Oh, good game, sir, thank you. AdMech are highly specialised. They're also very strong, and some people have done really well with them, far more so than people have done with Genestealer Cults. You're able to get much more reliable results with AdMech, but you have to know what to do. You can do good with them, but they're not a beginner faction. Now look, anybody that watches my channel regularly or has played any sort of competitive kill team or gone to a tournament and has crossed any of these factions, Genestealer Cults and AdMech, probably know that Genestealer Cults and AdMech are quite infamous in that regard. So those are 2 easy picks, right? So what's number 3? What could it be? I racked my brain for ages to figure this one out. I think I've picked a good one. But take a moment for yourself, guys, okay? What is the 3rd faction? And genuinely, let me know, because I struggled with this one. And remember, don't just pick a bad faction. Yes, a difficult faction can just be bad, but for example, if somebody says Kroot, we've talked about that. They're actually very simple. They're not difficult to play. They're difficult to get good results with, but they're not difficult to play. In another way, if you wanted to say Imperial Guard, I could almost see it. Yes, they're very strong, but you're still T3, 5-up saves. You have to do the correct thing, or you can just get shot off the board pretty quickly. Certainly some armies counter them pretty well. So what's the 3rd faction? Some of you might take this as cheating because it's not a core faction, but it's going to be Gellerpox. Gellerpox Infected are the masters of movement and dying. And it's honestly such a shame because they are, in many ways, alongside Elucidian Starstriders, Kill Team's faction. You can only get them in Rogue Trader, which is no longer available. And, you know, Games Workshop, how they do this thing, I don't think they will ever be available again. But they are one of the two Kill Team factions. A lot of people played them and said they're not very good. A lot of people played Elucidian Starstriders and said they're not very good. But you know what? Gellerpox Infected are very, very fast, which we know as Kill Team players, okay? You probably haven't thought about Gellerpox Infected for a long time, but think back, okay? What do we know about Kill Team? Speed is good. Durability is good. Well, you know what? The Gellerpox don't have durability, so forget about that. In fact, they are one of the weakest teams. They are the easiest team to kill, because a lot of their models have +1 to your injury roll. You kill them on 3s, not 4s. That sucks. That is huge when it comes to statistical probabilities of killing them. But they do have movement. Some of their models even have the -1 to hit, which is great. They're also quite small models, so easy to hide. Now, some might say that they are, you know, they should be arena-only factions. I suppose, you know, some of their tactics are specific to arena, you know, open a door. Okay, they're an arena faction. But I want to contend that actually they're stronger on an open board. Again, if you have the correct amount of terrain. If you don't have terrain, they're just going to get shot off turn 1. Like, fair enough. You need enough terrain on the board. And not just line of sight blockers, but obscurity. You need those minuses to be hit, because you don't have any shooting. And that's another issue with Gellerpox. You can't shoot. Yes, you have like 2, I think they're the sludge grubs. They technically can shoot, but in reality you're hitting on 6s, so it's pointless. Who cares? That's not really shooting. But Glass, I hear you wail into the night. You said that we can't just pick bad factions like the Crude, like whoever. Okay, yes I did. Fair point. But the Gellerpox Infected aren't bad. But Glass, nobody's won with them. They haven't taken any tournaments. What are you talking about? Oh, but sir, they have. Yes, if we think back to like 2 years ago now, I did an interview on my channel with other people may have played the Gellerpox, okay? And they've done terribly with them. So yes, if nobody had ever done anything with Gellerpox, I would not ever bring them up in the most difficult factions to play. But somebody has, and he's done it consistently and multiple times. So how can only one person have done well with them? It could, I would suspect, be in large part due to the fact that the models were only available in a large box set that was arguably quite poorly received, which is such a shame. And so the availability of the models isn't exactly the highest. They're also not models that have much of a crossover with 40k, because they fit in a very strange, weird detachment way over there. And like I said, they have 0 durability. In a game where your first thought is, I need my models on those objective points, you want to go and sit your models on them, but they're going to die. What do? Well, you put them on the point and then they die, and it's like, oh, well, okay, well, yeah, this team sucks, obviously. And they also have some of the slowest models in the game, the big Nightmare Hulks. Amazing models, great stats, 4-inch move. Everybody else in your team, super fast. This guy, super slow. You basically have to make him a veteran to get into combat for turn 3. That's insane. I'm actually starting to think you just shouldn't have him on the board at all. You should just go with only little tiny guys, like genuinely. Okay, so only one person has ever done well with them, but they have done well with them consistently. Nobody knows where this guy is anymore. Where is Gellerpox Chris? I don't know. I haven't spoken to him for ages. I haven't spoken to him since I did an interview on my channel, which hopefully I've linked somewhere up here. You should go and watch it. If you want to know how to play Gellerpox Infected, go and watch it. I don't know what's up with Gellerpox Chris. All I know is he doesn't go to tournaments anymore. He doesn't play Kill Team anymore. If anybody knows, let me know.
I'm gonna poison the water hole. Not if I can stop you. I'm Buzz Lightyear. Oh no! Ah, pew, 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 pew.
And now we go on to the honourable mentions. Going to keep this real quick because this is going on way too long. First up, Marines. But Glass, Marines are really strong. They are, correct. However, this is why it's an honourable mention. They are tough in the list building phase because there are so many bad options. Because there's so many, right? There are so many bad ones. And look, for the competitive players, that's not a big deal. But for the new players, they can just pick a lot of bad options. Okay, look, Marines are the whole, you know, I did a video about casually competitive. You can't really go wrong. Marines, honourable mention, too many options. I don't like them. They also just suck in general. The second honourable mention is going to be any faction that doesn't take their competitive list, right? So this is almost every faction. Any faction you think that is competitive, no doubt if you're, you know, a tournament player, whatever, you have an idea. You're like, okay, yeah, Tau, drone spam, cool. Imperial Guard, plasma spam, flamer spam, Blackstone Guard, cool. Heretic Astartes, berserkers. So I'm talking anybody that decides to take Tau without drones, big bug tyrannids, pre-pariah nexus necrons without flayed ones, demons that use all demonettes, all scion guard. These types of lists, good for you. They're difficult to play and you don't get any credit for playing them. When somebody looks at, oh, who won that tournament? And they see it was Tau, they stop asking questions. They assume that you ran, you know, Tau Sept or Borkan Sept or Sorcier Sept, whatever the good one is these days, Sorcier Sept, I think. And they just assume you took drone spam. So to all of you out there that want to take a bad sub-faction or a subpar list in a strong faction, good for you. That's the way the game's meant to be played. All these people that take just a top tier list, good for them, that's great too. But you know what, you're playing different games. The people that take the fluffy list, that experiment, you've got my heart. Anyway everybody, this has been Glass Half Dead with my top 3 plus 2 honourable mentions of the most difficult kill teams to play, or the hardest. I don't know what I'll have titled this, probably whatever fits on a thumbnail better would be my guess. So probably hard, because that's shorter and I think we all like it hard. I'm not going to cut away. That was awkward. Cringe. Cringe. Anyway, guys, if you made it this far, obviously, I would like to just say a big thank you for watching the whole of this video. Let me know what you think of this new presenting style. Yeah, I got my green screen back. Over lockdown, I've been watching a lot of computer game YouTubers that do this sort of presentation style. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this for Warhammer. This is me now. This is what I do. I stand in front of a green screen and I talk. I present. I'm a presenter. That's who I am. Don't judge me, mum. And if you've made it this far, of course, I would like to give you a big triple hello. Thank you very much. Watching to the end of my videos is genuinely one of the best things you can do to help out my channel. I'm still a teeny tiny content creator and starting to experiment a little bit more with the things that I like to watch on YouTube and bringing them over to Warhammer, my channel in particular. So if you can give me some algorithmic love, that'd be awesome. Also, if you want to know more about me and my channel in general, check out my Facebook link. It's in the description and the top comment. If you want to talk more about Kill Team in general, check out my Discord. And if you really like what I'm doing, I do have a Patreon. You know, any sort of financial support encourages me to continue to make silly videos in front of green screens. We have more coming up, don't you worry. I haven't posted for ages because I've been revving up to start pumping these out. Let's see how that goes. Anyway, everybody, thank you very much for watching this far. I hope you've had a good day, and I hope you continue to have a good day. Goodbye. I hope I didn't just mess with the camera focus. I need to move less. It's my first time, guys. I apologise. That was a bit sexual.